Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Zooming Hoosk Podcast, and I'm your host, Dustin DaHusky.
And I'm Kurdan Sourpuss.
We are back to, hopefully, our regular scheduled recordings, because the last few weeks have been a bit insane with work schedules and just overall craziness of this whole year. I don't know, it's just, I don't know about you, but I've been feeling much more tired lately, for no reason. By around 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm so tired, it's like, this isn't fun anymore. And it's certainly not daylight savings that change. It had just in the last few weeks actually about a month ago, I started feeling incredibly tired. And I don't know why. I don't know, maybe it's just a sign I'm just getting fed up with shit, so.
Which is funny you mentioned that, because that's what I was going to bring up, daylight savings. What is your opinion as a Franco-American Hoosk?
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion of daylight savings?
Well, I know in France they don't use it.
No one else
uses it.
Just U.S.
I think maybe Great Britain maybe used it during the war, of course, for... I know Canada and I think definitely the UK may have used daylight savings during the war when we entered to get on our time schedule. Plus, two, an extra hour in the morning for harvesting crops and whatnot for farmers, which only helps in that regard. However, you know what? I don't mind it being dark around 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning. Because that means you have an extra hour daylight in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. Which is why I think, you know what? Do you want your extra hour in the morning or do you want your extra hour in the evening? And to be honest, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So almost to, in effect, it's kind of pointless. Farmers have modern technology. And you know what? With all of the fertilizer... GPS coordinated combine harvesters, all this stuff is done by schedule so well. The only thing that's a variable is weather. Beyond that, we don't really need daylight savings anymore.
We don't.
In fact, Arizona, I think Arizona and New Mexico are the only states in the whole country that do not follow.
Because they're so far.
They're a bit further south in the latitude.
Yeah.
I think it's latitude, yeah. However, I mean, the further away you are from the equator, the Earth tilts. That's why right now it's getting colder in the northern hemisphere, while in the southern hemisphere it's getting warmer. Yep. Wrap that around you. Where in the summertime for us, it's colder in Australia in summer. So they get, I don't know, snow? I don't know. They should get snow because they're pretty further south in their latitude.
Who?
Australia.
I don't think so.
I would hope so because they're still further south enough to probably get snow.
I don't think they're south enough, though. I don't know. I have to look at the...
I'm sure they gotta at least have a bit of snow. If anything, it snows and it's gone the next day. I would at least expect snow in Australia to happen to some degree, stick around for a bit, and then it melts like normal. Like, kind of like an early snow for us. Mm-hmm. I don't know. For me, I really think it's pointless to keep daylight savings, and to be honest, I'd rather have the extra hour to do what I can do. I just think, because, you know, throughout the rest of the year, I think December 20th or the 22nd becomes the shortest day of the year, right?
Yeah.
It literally does not matter. You only have 4 or 5 hours of daylight in this area. You literally, it doesn't matter if daylight savings is there to gain the extra hour. It's still going to get darker and darker.
Yep.
I just don't know. To me, I think it's perfectly useless.
Yeah. It messes people up more than anything.
Yeah. Agricultural has come a far long way at this point that it doesn't need it anymore. Because you know what? farmers get up at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning anyway, while it's dark.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference.
So do kitties.
Yes, and actually, you wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's already dark regardless if it's daylight savings or not. So for you, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
And you still have a good 4 or 5 hours of daylight, even if it gets shorter and shorter. You leave practically an hour after noon. So you have plenty of daylight, where else by the time I leave at work at 4 p.m., the sun's already long set at the shortest day of the year.
Well, 4:30 usually is done.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's rare enough for me to get out on time anyway.
Right.
So that's my thoughts about daylight savings is, long ago, there was a use for it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, since no other nation uses it,
it's pointless.
It's pointless.
Just one more thing that we're behind in, I feel like.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that.
I will say that today's episode is not brought to us by Hams, even though Hams is taking its place, has been taking its place for a while now during podcasts for us. I'm literally having beer and pretzels
Yep.
right now. What do you think of my smorgasbord?
You have a nice smorgasbord.
My spread?
Mm-hmm.
I do this pretty often, don't I?
Well,
I do. I know I do.
it's unfair for you because by the time we do these podcasts, it's currently 5:49 p.m. right now.
Yep.
I've only been home nearly 2 hours. Actually, yeah. You've been home since
1:30.
1:30. So you actually take a later dinner around the same time I do, when normally dinner is probably a normal time for me.
Yeah.
You hold off.
Yeah.
But then you snack. So then you snack, and then snacking time happens to coincide with podcast time. So
Yeah.
that's why you hear all the munching cat sounds in the background, is because cats are hungry and they're offset hourly schedule from the Hoosk. You get more... I don't know, you just get more consistent cat munches around this time. So, some things that we are far behind, I would say, in the world. So, I would say the use of daylight savings is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I would say renewable energy. And not to say that we don't have any. We do have not a wide array of renewable energy in terms of quantity.
Mm-hmm.
The technology, we're actually using it, but not to the extent as a size of our population and country compared to other nations. Shit, I mean France as Franco-American Hoosk. Much of the electrical energy in France is 70% nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm.
And even France is trying to scale that back, which honestly, they may not even do, because they're thinking about doing modular small nuclear reactor designs that you can have multiple of them small enough that the idea of a module or a modular nuclear reactor plant is that they can be torn down a lot faster than a regular sized nuclear plant, which means you don't have to wait 15, 20, 30 years to pretty much decommission a plant. There is shutdown time, right? Mm-hmm. That usually takes several months to about a couple of years before the plant is totally at a standstill. Not only in terms of nuclear fuel, but everything is neutral. Then there is the decomposition of nucleoids. I'm not a nuclear scientist, I'm not a nuclear engineer. I just know enough to not be in too much trouble. it takes a bit of time for the reactor parts, the system, the cooling assemblies, whatnot. It'll take a little while before the radioactive content of that drops down to a level that people can safely work around them full time to dismantle them, right?
Right.
Well, with a modular nuclear plant, they're smaller. They will produce not the exact same amount of nuclear electrical generation. However, many of them paired together means that each specific spot on that location can be decommissioned fully and removed in a shorter amount of time than it would take an ordinary plant would. So you get real estate back within the century, whereas some plants will take more than a century before some lands are able to be used for something else, maybe more industrial than residential.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
You said France is 70% nuclear?
The most in the world. In terms of percentage of energy generated for ordinary use and industrial use, that's 70% total. That means businesses and residents use it.
What about us? What are we at?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get at least maybe 5%, maybe 8%, or maybe 10% at most we've ever been. The United States has less, like, by 1986, Chernobyl happened, and that put the fear in a lot of people regarding nuclear energy, which understood. But I feel like nuclear energy is our future anyway, because besides radioactivity, there's not a whole lot of other bad negatives to the climate.
How are they at such a high percentage?
France?
Yeah.
I think they just love nuclear-powered stuff. In fact, France made the first totally possible nuclear-powered car, a passenger sedan, in 1958 called the Arbel.
Really?
France made the only use of nuclear power in not a production car. They made it a production car, however they realized the amount of lead shielding for the passengers would have been so much that the car wouldn't have propelled itself much further. I mean, it would work. They made it work. It was a working model. The thing was, it was just not practical. The car would be so heavy, it'd weigh as much as a semi-truck.
Wow.
And that's a fully loaded semi-truck, too. Well, not about a fully loaded. I would say it would weigh several tons just because of the lead shielding.
Right.
But they made it so that it was totally maintenance-free. So much so that the windshield washer reservoir was filled with rainwater. So when it rained, it filled up that, which was kind of nice. It's just France. I think they just were more pioneers in that sector. You would think the Soviets, knowing that they were trying to use up as much energy to make it free for its citizens. However, France was the only country in the planet to ever have that much nuclear energy on tap. That I think it even sold a bit of its energy to other neighboring countries for a while. I think even some parts of West Germany got some electrical power through northeast France. I mean, in Paris, there's, I think, like 3 or 5 nuclear power plants in the area that is supplying nuclear power. And it's much more power than what Paris ever needs. So it's just given evenly distributed among the region. I don't know.
That's a question I have too. Last you heard, what was the population of Paris? It's got to be bigger than Chicago.
It's under 3 million, at least in Paris itself. Apparently it's a lot less than I thought it was. It's like 3 million. However, metropolitan Paris is like 12 million.
What's Chicago?
I think it's like 8 million. No, Chicago itself I think is what? 5-6 million people, and then, well, no, I think it's 4 or 5 million at most.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's like 8 million in the metropolitan area.
Oh, so it is more.
It's probably the most. It's certainly the most densely populated spot in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So much so that the whole state of Wisconsin, population-wise, can fit in metropolitan Chicago and much, much more, because Wisconsin's population is under 6 million. So you could fit the entirety of Wisconsin and Chicago, plus a little bit more outside. So I like to think that the United States is certainly behind 20 years in terms of readiness and eagerness to accept renewable resources or renewable energy production. We started a bit later than most countries did. France was already leading the step even ahead of the Soviet Union and the UK. The Soviet Union always wished it had the nuclear, I would say the nuclear potential of France, because they were producing more energy than the whole of Russia, which is nuts. And that was countries that are no longer part of Russia today that's also included in that figure. So that's insane. However, France was reducing the number of nuclear power plants, but they were also wondering what they're going to do next. Then they thought, well, what about coal-firing plants? Then they decided against that because they were already planning this, not the ban of diesel fuel, but the ban on new production of diesel vehicles that are private-owned vehicles in France. Actually, pretty much in Europe in general, because diesel is the most, which for many years they were fooling the Europeans in terms of hydrocarbon emissions by a diesel was less than a gasoline engine, but it's the opposite. Gasoline emits less hydrocarbons.
No, diesel's always, it's cheaper than...
It's cheaper to refine because there's not much to refine with diesel.
Right.
It's there's not much involved with diesel, so that's why it's cheaper in Europe, because now in this country we make it so that it's more expensive, so people would rather stick with gasoline. It's just a filthier fuel.
It's filthier.
It's totally filthy.
So it probably puts out worse...
soot. There's a reason why Europe, the buildings in Europe look gray and black. That's just diesel itself. That's not even coal or even... Coal has something to do with it, but after the 1940s, coal was almost entirely, not fully dropped, but as far as a major source of energy, Europe went to diesel fuel, and France went straight to nuclear energy. But the United States could do a lot better. If we would have had started in 1980 to start research, development, and procurement of renewable energy, which definitely would have created more jobs, would have sparked an entirely new industry. Instead of doing this now, if we would have done it a lot sooner, we'd probably be better off. We would look at the electric vehicle a little bit more nicer. And the electric vehicle would be within the grasp of most Americans. Whereas a Tesla, which is the most common mass-produced electric vehicle in the United States right now, there's still a waiting list, and it's still expensive, and the average American can't afford one.
No.
So if we would have started this a lot more sooner, who knows? Even back 20 years ago, if we started the production of electric cars as it is today, things would be so much cheaper, range wouldn't be an issue anymore, and many more manufacturers would have different sizes and functions of vehicles that are fully electric that we as Americans would feel comfortable with. And not just to mention charging stations along the whole country. Right now, the only thing holding back electric cars right now, despite it being a bit more common to see them, is that there's barely any charging stations.
The ones you do see are usually closed.
That, or they're few and far in between. Tesla fanboys will say, they're kind of everywhere. Well, I actually don't know of a single electric car station, like recharge station in my area, because there aren't any. And we live in the most populous part of Wisconsin, and you would think I would find more fast charging stations for electric cars besides at home, and you know what? There isn't any. Not that I can find. You know what's another horrible thing about living in the city and owning an electric car? You better have an underground garage or living in a house with a garage. Because if you lived on the streets and if you had to draw power from a public electric recharging station, you know what would be the prank thing to do? Whereas now, if you wanted to ruin someone's day, you put sugar in the gas tank, is that you would unplug someone's EV as they were charging during the night.
Yeah.
Unless there was wireless charging, which means it had to be a universal thing that companies are going to have to be okay with, which means free power for everyone, regardless of who you are. That's not going to happen. Owning an electric car in the city is going to be such a handicap for you. You would have to move outside the city to safely charge your car at night, unless you were to be paying big bongo bucks to live in a nice apartment complex with an underground garage that you can safely charge your car at night. And that's still not saying the kids in your apartment are still going to prank you by uncharging your car in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So, the electric car is going to be square, fit right in front of you, only unfairly given to those who have their own home and their own garage. Even those with a home but no garage wouldn't be able to easily charge their car at night without someone messing around. Because you know, what's the one thing that you fear about a gasoline car, despite it, being broken into, crashed, whatnot, is someone siphoning your tank.
Right.
That's the worst thing that can happen, because you realize not only is your money wasted, which gasoline right now in 2020 is still cheap, if you think about it.
Yeah.
In 10 years' time, that will be a different story. Nothing's going to be bad. Nothing's going to be much worse than going out in the morning to know that your car does not have a charge. And in Wisconsin, cold and heat cycles. Electric batteries for even your car, a gasoline-powered car, they weaken after 5-7 years.
Right.
If you can get a car battery to last more than 10 years in the state of Wisconsin, you're either doing something amazing, you have a heated garage, or you bought a very expensive battery, and even the most expensive batteries, yeah, it's smoking. Even the most expensive batteries don't last more than 7 years. So,
I have a question. How long is it supposed to take to actually recharge?
An electric car? Well, it depends on what kind of charging system you have. If you're going off your 120 volt system, you may be able to charge your car within 7 to 9 hours on average.
So these fast charging stations, how long do you have to sit there for?
You might be able to get 80% charge within an hour.
Ooh.
But you're still looking at an inconvenience, which means to this day, and for the longest time in our future, gasoline holds the biggest amount of energy per gram than it does getting it through an outlet plug.
That's why we're never going to get off gas.
Unfortunately so. Which actually, to some degree, we'll be partially off of it, but we're not going to be fully off of it. And not only that, America is so far behind in infrastructure, we can't even have enough charging stations for everyone, like public charging stations. Now, Guess when is the biggest amount of power usage during the day in this country and in most industrialized nations? Anytime from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. is the most use of our electrical supply grid. So imagine if every American goes to bed at the same time and charges their car. You know how much strain the electrical supply network would have just to support that? And we don't even have a good power grid. To a certain degree we do, but other countries have better power grids than we do. I don't know. We're so far behind as far as sustainable energy for our future because we can't rely on fossil fuels for long. Natural gas is one where we are probably going to have to rely on permanently. Maybe coal as well. But gasoline, petroleum products is going to be such a limited use after, 10, 15 years down the road from today, it's going to be so reduced, we'd have to use other forms of non-renewable energy to make up for the use of petroleum.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're kind of lagging behind on that. We are catching up. It's not to say that it's all bad news. We are, in fact, catching up, but we're catching up at a slower rate than we should be. If we're trying to prep ourselves for the future of less, not a zero-emission world cannot exist. But we can certainly reduce the use of non-renewable energy in our day-to-day life, but we'll never be able to eliminate it. And I think a lot of people have a fantasy that we can get off of petroleum forever. No. Petroleum giants are certainly going to be making money. However, they're pumping up less and less of the stuff.
Yep.
And it's only going to get more expensive, but people are going to try to stay away from it. Especially with Americans and our meager wages. Eventually, the gasoline-powered automobile will be so expensive to run. It'd be cheaper to buy, but it'd be more expensive to run.
Yeah.
Because eventually the cost per gallon in this country is going to go so high. People are going to be buying electric trucks, electric SUVs, but people are going to be still buying small gasoline-powered passenger cars. So microcars, city cars, subcompacts, compact cars. So, in some cases, the gasoline car will still exist. But the classic American pickup truck is probably going to go full electric a lot sooner than the rest of the lineup.
Yeah.
That's my guess, because Americans love buying pickup trucks. And to fuel one up will get too expensive one day that it'll be not profitable to keep making them. So, it's an interesting thought.
Yeah. Speaking of interesting thoughts, what do you think would happen if, realistically, a hoosk and a long cat were ideally or actually elected as president and vice president?
Well, number one,
The first two furries to be elected in the
we'd be wearing our fursuits every day.
Of course. I mean, I would be. We have to be.
I can't be doing that.
You can't do what I do because you talk.
Well, normally we try to offset it.
And I nom.
So, the world would be a more happier place because we get pets. And everyone's disarmed. I was like, aw, so cute. I don't know, to be honest, now, I'm going to dive a bit deep in this. A bit deep and a bit heavy. Now, bear with me. I'm not going to go into specific people, because I'm going to avoid that. However, I honestly think two furries elected president and vice president would do so much better as presidents than politicians would today.
Oh, yeah.
Or businessmen, actors, whatever.
Yeah.
I honestly think a down-to-earth person would make a better president because they'd have better intentions and thoughts about what the average people are going through.
Yeah.
That a politician who has been living the politician life... You dropped something.
I did. It looks like...
You know, yeah, we don't need to go with that. No, okay, no. So, I honestly think everything else below a president should be a politician. I honestly think, this is my idea, elect two normal people to be head of state. Ordinary, down-to-earth people that have been through the shit, who have worked blue-collar jobs. Those who know suffering financially of either 9 to 5, which you're likely white-collar if you're 9 to 5. So I'm going to talk about 6 to 2. Or in your case, 3 to 1. The people that actually help keep the country going know what's kind of going on, suffer through it every day, and only they will understand what the average person's going through. Mm-hmm. Whereas, oh yeah, we want to tax the rich. To be honest, no politician wants to kind of do that because they've also got rich in the process of being career politicians.
Sure.
So, in a sense, yeah, they would want to tax the wealthy. However, they won't do it as broadly as they want it to, or if any at all.
To keep it in simple terms, I would love to keep it always at a percentage of what you make. So, unfortunately, if you do clear 3 digits, or 6 digits, and 3, if you clear 3 digits, well, hooray for you, but 6 digits, unfortunately, you are going to pay a little bit more. But I just think that's the only fair thing to do.
Are we talking about 999,999, or are we talking about 100,000?
100,000.
Well, okay, so this is where I sort of see yes and no. I think if you make over $1 million a year, we don't want you to be totally broke. Let's be fair.
They're not going to be, though.
Oh, no, they won't be. However, you should certainly pay a fair share, because I make below poverty line. And
so do I.
I would rather not pay any taxes at all.
So would I.
In fact,
we all have to do our part.
I think anyone under $100,000 should not pay taxes, period. Because you know what? Yeah, that's the majority of the country. However, if you really think about it, Americans are kind of struggling.
Yeah.
Americans are riddled with debt, whether if it be home, whether if it be auto debt, which actually, the most common form of debt in America is auto debt.
And is education after that.
And education. Not to mention if you had an accident or you have a pre-existing condition, you need to get it operated, fixed, whatever, cost you some god-awful amount of money. Now you're a college student with a brand new car, so you have a loan, you have a student loan. You live in a rinky-dink apartment that you still can't afford, even with one other person, so you have to share your bed with one other person. In the other bedroom, you have to share it with 2 people, just to make sure that you're not paying out the nose.
Yeah. Which
even that's impressive. You have medical bills of, oh, you got into an accident with your new car. Which, even with that, if you even had insurance, which most Americans are getting to the point where they can't afford car insurance. More and more Americans each year are opting out of car insurance policies.
Yeah.
Most furries don't have car insurance.
And that's the law.
And that's actually the law across the land, and still...
You're supposed to have car insurance.
I only know of very few people in the state of Wisconsin that are furries that have car insurance. It's not to say that, they can't afford it. I'm going to be very honest. They can't afford it. They have other things in life that is more important than car insurance, and to be honest...
Fursuits?
Well, I mean, we're furries. We're not good with money. However, we don't make that much money in the first place, at least the majority of us. We're all either making 18 to 30,000 take home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's take home. That's not gross. So you got a car loan, you may have a student loan, you may have a medical bill, and if you're buying a house, you've got a mortgage on top of that. Now, the average American buys... The average car price in the United States right now is anywhere from like $30,000 to $45,000. The average American working wage is $33,000. Not to mention what other bills and debts they may have piling up.
Mm-hmm.
Things are so disproportionate in this country. It's not that I hate the rich, but I find it incredibly unfair that why do I have to pick up the slack with my hard-earned money to a job that I absolutely hate working at,
Yeah.
to a boss who is an absolute human pig of a human being.
Yeah.
And I'm slaving away 8 hours of my day to a company that treats us like shit for piddly wages that aren't going to get any higher than where I am now.
No.
And yet I'm expected to be paying the rest of what the rich people should pay and won't pay.
Did you mention on here yet about your company's new dilemma?
Oh yeah, my company's totally broke. Yep. Yeah, there's not much to really talk about. There's some economy measures. Yeah.
Definitely not going to be an increase in wage there.
Oh, actually, at this point, not a single person is going to be scheduled a raise for years. Not even for inflation. We're totally frozen on wages. Which doesn't matter to me because I don't plan on staying in this company that long anyway. So really, if this was a company that I adore, a company that I can see myself working for a lifetime, good benefits, if it's even a union job, okay, all right. However, I would be mortified if this were my company. However, if your company is bankrupt, you have to wonder there's some shady shit going on because you shouldn't be bankrupt in 2 years.
How long have they been in business for?
1937, but it changed owners 2 years ago, which things haven't been good since. So, honestly...
That's usually how it goes.
The CEO before this current guy was a hard ass. However, things were great.
Yeah.
And as soon as the new guy took over...
He watched money. I'm sure he kept an eye on money and
not
spending.
only that, he watched over my boss. He made sure he was a normal human being. Ever since he left, Jim always stayed in his office. He never goes out of his office. I forget the guy's name, but anyway, he would go out of his way to walk around the whole warehouse just to check up on things. So my boss was always on edge that he may say something bad.
Sure.
Now that the new CEO stays in his office and only in his office and doesn't do much, my boss is getting away with the things I tell everyone what's happening in my workplace. That has been horrifying and mortifying people that this is the worst you could find at a job.
I'll say one thing about going back to the source of this whole kind of rant is that if you and I were president and vice president, I personally would love to forgo accepting a salary And I feel like any president that ever should take the position should do the same, or at least a very large chunk of what they make should go towards paying off this debt that we've had for how long?
You know what?
How long have we had this debt for?
Well, since the Iraq War. You know what would be better? Their personal assets get frozen. So even if you're a millionaire, you can't touch it for 4 years. The country will pay you the average person working wage. And you have to survive on that alone.
Yeah.
Any donations you get will go directly into your personal account that you still can't touch. But if you're going to feel what is going on in this country, you got to go through the life of the average American.
Sure.
You're going to be making the same average wage as most people, which apparently in this country is $33,000, which I find horseshit. I think it's more close to $27,000.
I think so too.
Because back in 2012,
I'd be sitting pretty if I was over 30,000 again. I'd be able to live on my own again. Any lower than that, it's hard to live on your own.
believe me, it's...
I've done the math many times. But yeah, I feel like if I were the vice president, I would forego all salary. And I would want to take that money that would be my salary and I would apply it towards the country's debt.
Or, here's another thing. If you really, really want to pump the economy, I'm going to tell you, not really a secret, but I'm going to tell you something that I've noticed when people get their money back from tax returns or whatever.
Yeah.
They spend their money on stuff like debt, their own bills, rather than buying something new. If you're buying something that is a luxury, then you're well off.
Yeah.
However, most people that I know that get their tax returns usually pay off their debt somehow, or their car loan, or a loan, or whatever, just to help wax it off, start from scratch again, and then keep chipping away.
Yeah.
Eventually, automation is going to replace a lot of people. The unemployment rate will go up naturally over time because you know what? Businesses like profits. They're going to try to make as much money over us, hand and fist, as they can.
Yeah.
So you know what they're going to do? Hell, if my company had a machine that can do everything I do, they would do it in a heartbeat. They would easily throw me on the street, which I'll be glad to have them. I will personally hand them my ass to throw on the sidewalk because I really don't want to work there. So that's perfectly fine by me, but any other person would be unfortunate. If companies had a chance to replace workers with robots, they would do it because they know that they'd save money. Now, this is where I'm going with this. Universal basic income is going to have to be our future. And I'm not talking about everyone gets $1 million a year. I'm just talking about people are probably going to get anywhere from $21,000 to $30,000 a year just to make ends meet. You're not going to go on any fancy trips. You're not going to be buying that Lincoln or Cadillac that you've been wanting to buy on your in your basement wall that you've been eyeing up. If you're on universal income, you're only going to be affording what you can actually afford or save up what you're willing to save up. However, since we're not at that point yet in time, I'm not going to do that. You know what I would do? I'd give every single person who is making under $100,000 $10,000 right off the bat. So if people get $10,000 for 4 years, that's $10,000 they didn't get that they didn't have before. That's $10,000 they can apply to debts, medical bills, car loan, improvements in their own life, whatever, or to stimulate the economy. Because you know what happens when you give a lot of money to people? If they can spend it, they'll spend it on stuff they need. That stimulates the economy. That's what gives the revenue back to businesses. They can hire more people building more stuff if the money flow is there. When the economy is dragging, it means no one is spending money. If no one is going to spend money on stuff that people should be buying up in a capitalist economy, the more money you spend, the more that the economy grows, continues, flourishes, whatnot. You got something?
I have something.
Okay.
You sparked something in my head when you said mechanical something or robot something.
Automation.
Automation. We have in my store the self-driving Zamboni that cleans the floor.
So they already took the job of one person. However, it does it quickly and efficiently. The problem is, that's one person out of a job. And imagine every single Walmart has one.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many stores are there across the country? I think. All right, so
20 or 30,000, I think.
Okay, so that's 20, 30,000 people that are out of a job because of one robot. Now it saves Walmart.
But somebody has to maintain that robot.
They outsource it, so it's not within the company. You're still giving someone a job, but however, between a group of Walmarts, so you're looking at maybe 5 to 6 Walmarts, you may have 1 or 2 people working on those Zambonis, which still is not a lot of people. You're still giving someone a job.
It's funny you say that too, because you sparked something else in my head that I see happening more and more. We have more and more vendors that stock their own products in our stores. I can see within the next 15, 20 years
that there'd be no one at Walmart.
Yeah.
There'll only be vendors.
All outsourced.
Yep. That means that it's less people Walmart has to hire.
Yeah.
So literally, we are looking at an exodus of human jobs.
Yep.
It's not so much that, it's not to say people are selfish that they want more money. To be honest, we're being underpaid in this country. However, with more and more automation and more outsourcing, you know what? Unless America wants to become a banana republic, which to some people it is right now, or it has been for the last 20, 30, 40 years, but there's going to be a point in time when, imagine this neighborhood that we live in, imagine if it was run down. Like, broken cars in the streets, broken cars in people's driveways. You look at houses on the inside, they're totally barren because people are selling off their stuff just to make it through. And even still, the house that they eventually pay off is so junk that it's not even worth what they paid for back in the day. So it's at their loss. This is a future when eventually there's not enough jobs at all. Even the shit ones that you want to do just to make ends meet. Eventually, no one's going to be working at McDonald's. It's just going to be robots that will do the job faster. Without complaining.
And hopefully without messing the orders up. For us, we have Coke and Pepsi that stock all their own products. Frito-Lay, Dorito, I think, is under that as well. Miller. What's some of the other bigger alcohol beer companies?
Well, there's Bud Light, there's Coors. I'm talking about big parent companies too.
Budweiser stocks their own stuff. Miller stocks their own stuff.
So really, this is just the beginning of a slippery slope that, you know what? Walmart thinks...
Krispy Kreme, they stock their own stuff in our store.
However, they're going to actually, you know what?
Pizza places that stock their own stuff as well.
This is just the beginning.
It is.
And it's not going to stop until we all get replaced. And even IT jobs, which are huge right now, I could see within 10, 20 years, there won't be a single IT guy except for maybe one for every building.
In-house, there won't be any more.
Because you know what? Machines would probably be smart enough to build themselves and to repair themselves. And even those machines that do break down, they'll have their own machines to help repair them. and software that will self-heal. You know what? Corporations will be the end of us in terms of
all this company's future.
And you know what? You are going to need universal basic income for all these companies to thrive in the future, because you know why? Once we're all replaced by robots and we don't make a single dime, oh, why don't you buy our 2035 Chevy Blazer? Oh, fuck, no one can buy them.
Because they can't afford them.
Well, not just that, but they can't afford a sock. A sock, not even a pair of socks. They're going to have to throw, hey. Now, at that point, companies would be so rich, they could probably give away this shit for free, because you know what? Eventually...
That's basically what Walmart does. We get shoplifted so much, and somehow they're still able to afford to pay all these salaries.
Why don't you tell the microphone how much money a year a store is allowed to lose, on average?
Allowed to lose?
Yes, meaning stuff that gets stolen, stuff that gets wasted.
Somewhere around 250,000, I think.
At one store alone in 1 year.
I believe so. It could be more. I think it might be 300,000.
So this is merchandise and crops and produce that gets wasted or shoplifted every year at a Walmart store.
One store, yeah. Could be. I could be lowballing that a lot. I could be way off.
Okay, so you know what? Let's actually... I'm actually going to highball that. So 300,000, let's even say there are let's say 5,000 Walmarts in this country. You know how much money that is? That is $1.5 billion wasted. And that's money that a company allows to be lost. But you know where they probably make that money back? By replacing people, by reducing wages, by eliminating titles, eliminating managers, and eliminating more and more blue-collar jobs.
Yeah.
We are literally seeing an extermination of the working human being. Not just blue-collar, because eventually white-collar will be the same thing. Yeah, you can certainly enjoy your IT job right now. I'm afraid there may not be any IT work in humanity's future besides someone developing software that will help heal itself, to fix itself. Eventually, all this shit's not going to require our help at all.
You're going to love this. Spell this out for you. And this is 4 years ago. It's gone up from then till now. 3 billion nationwide we lose a year.
$3 billion from Walmart.
Out of our, get this, $300 billion profit. We lose 1%.
300, wow.
1%.
So imagine if they became more stringent about... See, that's even more disgusting. They make $300 billion, but yet people are being paid $11 an hour. Where they could... It's like with Amazon. Yeah, they will pay you $15 an hour, but you know what? They won't pay you for full time because benefits.
Yeah.
They don't want to give you benefits, but they'll give you 15.
It saves them money.
Yeah. See, I hate corporations.
Yeah.
Because they are everything that's evil with the world. Because you would think corporations would say, hey, we have to make sure that we are self-sustaining in our future. They're only worried about profits and their next buck.
Profits. Walmart, because it's publicly traded on the stock market, only cares about their stockholders.
And the shareholders.
Shareholders.
Yeah. Oh, actually pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty much this. Actually, it's the same with every publicly traded company. And you know what? Privately owned companies are just as worse. Because even then, they are still working with a small pool of money, and even still, they get paid fat stacks.
Yeah.
My company, which maybe explains why we're so broke, pays $30,000 a day on payroll for 101 employees. So, if I do the math, 30,000 divided by 101, That's $297 for every single person in the company, which is a disgustingly fabulous amount of money in one day.
Yeah.
That they're easily giving this to everyone in the company. However, everyone meaning everyone working in this company, now the president of the company is probably getting filthy rich because, of course, he is the president. You would think if the company's so bankrupt that you would probably divert some of the money back into helping the company, but the president's taking the paycheck anyway because he knows he wants it anyway. I don't know. It's not, and also too the whole bullshit that corporations are people is a sin.
Yeah.
Corporations are not people. They don't feel loss. They don't feel suffering. They don't feel underappreciated. They only do one thing, and that's to make money. Not even to sell anything. They're only meant for one thing, is to make money for a service. And even still, the services they provide aren't that great, but they're literally paying out the nose. We're all paying out the nose for everything. And you know what, eventually? We will all get ruined by this. In time, right now, we're frustrated with it right now, okay? I would say within 50 years, we would have a different style economy, so vastly different than it is now, because we would get to a point where we're so fed up that I doubt there's going to be as many workers out there in this country and people reproducing like rabbits in this country. We have more people than we ever need in this country.
Yet we still have people complaining about
Finding a job?
Not making enough babies.
Yeah, so with
Our birth rate is down.
our birth rate is down, and yet we're still exploding kids like popcorn.
Yeah.
And imagine at a time where you bring up kids. Baby cannon. There we go. So imagine a time when you bring up a family of 10. So this is not even 1950s. This is the 2050s, okay? You raise 10 kids in the 2050s. They become full-on adults by the 2070s. There may not even be a single job left for them. In 1960, General Motors, in one factory alone, had 60,000 people working in one factory. 3 shifts a day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You know how many people work at an average GM factory today?
Yeah.
Normally less than 1,200 for all shifts. Because of automation. This is bound to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this happened over a short period of time, but you know what's going to happen? There's going to be giant automotive factories that are going to be people-free. They will literally produce everything. They may keep a small team of people just to make sure that things don't catch on fire. And beyond that, one of my friends, Nimradro, or damn it, I'm butchering his name anyway. He worked for Chrysler, and he tells me stories about robot welding machines kind of being stupid while welding the roofs off of Jeep Cherokees or Grand Cherokees, or I forget which models. And sometimes you would watch a machine try to start the welding process, the pinch welding process of the roof panel with the rest of the body,
Yeah.
and would watch it punch twice on each side, a weld, and then fail the rest of the whole section until the very end, and then punch another weld in. So it was only held in by 4 spot welds.
Oh.
And these are robots. And this is technology perfected after 40 years of automation in the auto industry. So you're still going to have fuck-ups.
No.
But what happens in 40 years, we make machines that are so efficient, they don't fuck up that bad, that there may only be one repairman in the automotive industry. And he's so bored, he's literally masturbating in his desk. Or on his desk.
That's almost a guarantee.
And that's a guarantee, because eventually there's going to be no work enough for him. They'll just keep him on standby.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm tempted to lay in front of the Zamboni and see if it'll run me over.
Goodbye, cruel world. Oh, this is very disappointing.
I wish you. Honestly, I wish you worked there just so you could see this.
Or I wish I was there during the day that this would happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me,
I did see it clean the same spot on the floor a couple times.
well, it wants to make sure that spot is incredibly clean. To me, I think it's unfortunate that we look money as the value of all things in life, which for me it isn't, because you know what? The value and connections of people, memory, the things that you do in life is more valuable than money, in my opinion. So in this case, it's not to say I've transcended money altogether, but I don't put a huge value in terms of money and my self-value, because you know what? I like to think of myself as an incredibly talented person and what I can do. Mm-hmm. I will never let money tell me I am invaluable because I make so much. Whereas what I am able to do just on my own without being paid means much more. It's just money is a necessary evil in this society, and it's unfair that we have to acquire money just to get out of debt because of the stuff that we do want, which either means we all have expensive tastes, or stuff is going up in price, we're not getting higher wages, and we're just lagging behind. And this is all over the world, but it's incredibly bad in the United States. In Europe, some things are heavily subsidized, including tuition. In France, if you can show that you are a good student in the French equivalent of high school, you can get free tuition. Mm-hmm. If you can show that you are a good student. However, here's the kicker. Not all will get free tuition. There's a catch. If you can show that you are going to be a benefit to society, you will get free tuition if it means that you can keep up with your good grades, which one of the friend of the family's acquaintance of mine named Thomas went to school at the same time I did to become a mechanical engineer in the automotive sector. So this is the second person that I knew that went into the automotive sector, like me and Nimadro. There we go. Well, he finally got a job working for Renault, the one of the 3 French car manufacturers. However, his wages are pitiful. It would have been better off if he went into assembly of the car, making more money than he did becoming the engineer.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, money is such an evil thing. Can we replace it with... No. Can we be in a Star Trek universe where we don't think of money at all? And just literally do the things we want to do without the feeling of getting paid, but acquire anything we want because of the amount of work we do in life, that it's fairly justified that, hey, you want something to sustain yourself.
Yeah.
So like food, clothing, that should already become a free entity in the Star Trek universe, right?
Yep.
If you wanted to become a starship captain, you had to work your ass off to get to that point. Nothing comes that free. But basic needs, education, medicine, a place to work, that comes as a basic thing that in this universe they get. And it's all fantasy, because I can enjoy fantasy from time to time.
Yeah.
And we don't know how well that system would work either in the real world, because of course there's going to be someone everywhere wanting to take advantage of that system. So it's not going to be fully perfect. But I got to tell you, I feel like Peter Gibbons. I feel like Peter Gibbons that regardless of what I can do, I don't think I will ever get any higher. Not where I am now, but financially, I will probably never get any higher than I'd want to be. And really, I just want to live comfortably. This podcast got kind of definitely real and heavy, as mentioned before.
Almost like last time.
However, because of the election, it kind of makes sense because it's not just this won't be our last election. However, as we continue to grow old in this reality, I'm become more and more disenfranchised with our system. I don't want revolution. I don't want, oh, everything's gonna be free. Oh, everybody gets free jock straps, which, free jock straps would be pretty fun.
They would be awesome.
I'm still the kind of person that I would want to work hard for some of the stuff I want to get. But stuff like food, I should not have to work my ass off so that I can pay for groceries. Or even socks. Like today, I was thinking about the time when I darned socks with you. I don't know of a single person that's my age that's ever darned socks, but I was so strapped for cash as a college student. I darned my own socks so I can keep using them instead of buying new socks and throwing the old ones away.
Yeah.
I stitched my old socks up so I can keep using them a bit longer.
Yep.
When you have to go that far to save cash or you don't have any cash at all, you know your system's broken when you can't even afford to pay for socks.
Yep.
Aw, it's a poos! It's an orange poos in a box! It's so cute! And there's a...
And a ferret.
And there's a ferret. Aw. It's like, I'm a poos! And then here comes ferret, like, I'm a duke. Aw.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to add about this? What are your thoughts growing up as far as, just working your way up, the feeling of advancement, the feeling of, I don't know, I'll let you take over for a while.
The only thing that I have to say really about all that is that I wish I knew then what I know now, because I would not have spent so frivolously.
Yeah.
I mean, even like you, at my age, you haven't spent the money that I spent.
No, well, then again, I haven't had the money. I had it when you had. But
I mean, I made some really bad choices. Let's just put it that way.
you should not have bought that giant hot tub full of lube.
No, I shouldn't have.
Actually, the two hot tubs. You had two hot tubs the shape of balls, and then you had a nice long swimming pool the shape of a penis. Also filled with lube.
That would be amazing.
Now you can be the fastest swimmer. Watch me zoom from one end to the other. I'm over there now.
I mean, my $1,000 pool table, shouldn't have bought it.
Aw.
I shouldn't have. I should never have bought that.
I mean, we didn't really use it when we were together.
We used it a little bit.
Yeah.
But not a lot. Not $1,000 worth of use.
No.
And the time that I owned it even, I don't think I got that much use out of it. So, there's one thing. I'm sure from the time I was like 16, 17 till my mid to late 30s, I probably spent over $40,000 or $50,000 on video games and video game systems.
You were a video game puss.
Maybe not 40, maybe like 30,000, 20, 30,000. I don't know. I'd have to go back and do the math.
But this is over the course of several years.
I mean, we're talking from me being age 16, so like
16-year-old poops.
From like 1990 to like 2000, like
So about
25 years worth of collecting.
Well, you said from 1990 to 2000. That's 10 years. Are you saying throughout until now?
2010, we'll say, because I still.
Okay, so I guess that'd be 20 years.
I was still buying games. Yeah, I bought a lot of games.
Now, here's something from me, and a lot of people ask me, "Hey, do you have a PlayStation or do you have an Xbox? We should play." And like, I feel bad because me growing up, I didn't actually really grow up with a whole lot of much of anything. Me and my family literally ate off the bone. We didn't waste anything. We just couldn't afford anything. And you know what? I don't own a single game console. The only other games I played was on my Windows 98 computer. And my mom threw it away because she thought, you weren't using it. Like, dude, I was playing with it like... I was playing with it. Ooh. I was actually using it that same summer that she threw it out like a few months ago. But I had been playing on it constantly for 3 years.
Was it a full-size computer?
It was a desktop.
Ugh.
It was a compact with the highest quality...
Why did you throw it out?
Well, you weren't using it, so I just threw it out. It was just taking up space.
I would have...
Which, to this day, I'm still looking for a tower that I can play. I can find a monitor. I just want to find a tower so I can keep playing my Windows 98 games. But
we should find more computer stores in the area.
I don't know if they have that kind of stuff, but I've been asking a lot of other furs who collect that kind of stuff and say, hey, if you have a Windows 98 tower with a good enough graphics card that I can actually buy off you, I'm saying buy, not just to take away, because I know you would rather want to keep it anyway. I'm still looking for one.
I know somebody who might have one.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Who?
Cooper Tom.
Oh. Well, actually, you're better friends than I am with him, so you might be able to just loaf on him and just say, give me your tower. But growing up, I didn't really have much money. And when I had started to drive, all of the allowance money I had saved up went into repairing my car constantly. I had never saved a single dime until I got my second car in 2014. Because my first car broke down so often, I literally did not save a single dime.
Death Trap?
The Death Trap. And you know what? The only times that I ever saved money specifically was to go to cons, and I was hoping that it would be enough to get me to cons. Honestly, I only did one con each year, knowing that it was the only amount of money I can save each time. And one time my car broke down just before MFF. I think it was like 2012, 2013. So it was one of the last few times I drove that car down there. And I had to use up my MFF money. I still went to MFF, but I paid off my room. I had enough to sustain myself in food, but I couldn't buy anything. And the furs that I kind of lamented to says, oh yeah, I only have $100 this weekend to use, and I can't really get anything but food. And they kind of criticized me about it, which they didn't know, so I didn't take it too seriously. I didn't take offense. But they didn't know the situation I was in. And until I told them, well, I had car issues, and, well, I'm still here. I'm still having a good time, but I am not having fun with the amount of cash that I have. I'd rather like to have around $200, $300 at a con just in case I wanted to buy something.
Right.
Most cases, I usually have the money for food, but Uh-oh. Yeah. So, I don't know, did you want to go up and get him and have him down for the last, I don't know. So, as Kurdan grabs a wolf from the driveway. Yeah, it's sad that it's unfortunate that money is the all revolving thing in life, and it shouldn't be. I don't want to be that one meme of like the brains, and it's like, oh, I like money, and it's like a dead brain, and then you've like, you know what? Money is a necessary evil, and then you get some neurons sparking, and then it's all colorful a bit, and then you get to my point where it's like, I see more value in the talents that I have, the friends that you make in life, and the moments that come with it is a lot more valuable than whatever I'll make in a lifetime. That to me is more success personally than it is financially, and I could really care less about how much money I can make in a lifetime, because really you're going to always be chasing the money bug anyway. I would rather enjoy the other things in life, because if you only focus on the money, you literally ignore everything else, and you ignore family, you ignore friends, all of these fun times that you could have, even for pennies on the dollar, which literally you could have pennies in your pocket, not spend a dime. Pennies, you can't spend a dime because you don't have enough for a dime. The memories you'll have at that very moment would be worth more than the change in your pocket. Yeah, money sucks. It shouldn't be the drive to all things in life, but unfortunately, that is our society today.
Hello.
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 And we have a surprise wolf.
Very surprised.
So, we are talking about money. Oh my goodness.
Figured.
It's
that since it's election night, we gotta do this right.
bum
for you.
I think
it's called Bumbu.
It's either pronounced
Rum
Bumbu or Boombu.
Bumbu. Bumbu Yojimbo Nagasaki Hiroshima.
What?
I don't know.
So, the gas station I went to didn't have any Coke, so I have no idea how this is going to taste.
Are you telling me you didn't get the cocaine?
No, I did not get the Coke.
Damn it. Okay, fine. Liquid stuff is fine.
Scarface will be very disappointed.
You know what? If we boil the Dr. Pepper and hopefully get the residuals off that, we can maybe snort the rest off of that. Who knows? Yes, hello. This is Commander Wolfe with us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in my Halloween costume for this year.
You are a spooky
Amazon
hunter
associate.
and hunter.
Very much.
We have discussed a lot of things so far, and not much of it was actually political.
Well, until I showed
We
up.
had a slight amount of political
We did.
discussion.
We didn't really
about-
mention any names. We didn't really
Smells
mention
Hmm.
any parties. But we're just talking about.
I'll let you pour your own because
Okay.
I'm probably going to screw it up.
Probably just take a very small.
So, I always thought that this flavor was vanilla, but it's actually not. It's nutmeg.
Roots and berries, man. Roots and berries.
It's Caribbean-style rum.
It's very strong.
Yeah.
I'm not used to rum.
Really?
Chase it with beer a little bit.
I'd say that's about a safe amount.
I'm not normally a rum person, but I'll definitely.
There's a reason my sister calls me the
Oh.
pirate.
That actually is a really nice smell. Oh, and then I gotta try it.
My first legal drink that I bought from any liquor store was that particular rum.
You know,
You
actually,
know
kind
what?
of think
Just
of it.
in case, because I don't want to waste anything that I won't drink. But
The first alcoholic drink I ever had was rum and Coke.
you
Yeah.
want to.
My cousin gave it to me at her brother's wedding. We were like 12 or 13.
Wow, you went hardcore.
And we snuck it.
You know what my first alcoholic drink was?
Hopefully not Malort.
Oh, no.
It's Miller Time.
It's Miller Time.
And it was
at beer.
And it was at a reenactment, too. It's like, oh, hey, you ever had a beer? And like, I can't remember. And they gave me a beer. And it's like, oh, well, this is kind of nice.
Truth be told, beer gets me drunk faster than hard liquor does.
I can't say the same.
Oh.
Very low tolerance.
I don't like beer at all. I had a can of Coors the last time, and was
The banquet beer.
out on a couch.
This episode is sponsored by Hams, Coors, the banquet beer, and Boo Boo!
Dr. Pepper
And Dr. Pepper.
and Coke.
And Coca-Cola. You know what? I'm going to have a little bit. Because you know what? I have not paid attention what's going on in the outside world because I'm in my bunker.
Everything's been on fire.
Oh, good. Okay, that's fine by me.
I don't want to talk about it. Let's not talk about it now.
That's all I'm going to say is that everything is on fire.
It's on fire.
Oh, ho, that's the
No wonder it
little
smelled
ring
like
of
smoke down
fire.
here.
Huh?
No wonder it was smelling like smoke down here. Oh yeah, please. Yeah. You shouldn't have closed that. Let me have to do that too.
The ring of
I mean,
fire.
it definitely warms you up.
The ring
Oh,
of
the rum?
fire.
Yeah, I'm very warm in this area now.
Yeah, I like spiced rum. The only problem with this particular rum is its price tag.
Oh, it's expensive?
Yeah.
$50 expensive?
No, but close.
30, 40?
Around 30 to 40.
That's expensive.
Yeah,
I'm used
like-
to buying a $10.
Actually, you know what? I actually normally hate rum that's incredibly smooth, and I didn't put that much Coca-Cola in mine. So I would say it's like 1/4 of it's actually rum. That's pretty smooth.
Yep.
And I normally don't like this stuff.
It is about...
Yeah, the best thing you can do with rum, and I'm sorry,
Rum
to
and
all
Coke.
the alcohol snobs out there,
Be careful.
but you have to mix it with Coke.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not a big Coke drinker, but rum and Coke does work.
You normally like the other kind of Coke.
Just like, what? What Coke? I do not. I've never
Are
done,
you sure? I saw your nose was powdered once.
I just want to say that the middleman here does not condone the usage of illegal narcotics.
I've never tried anything.
Says the person who is going to school to become a
Pharmacist, drug dealer.
drug dealer. I take it a federal agent. So he's actually going to school to become a federal agent.
That's the goal, at least.
And
In this climate, woo.
yeah,
I would like to say, for the record,
I think everyone's doing a line of cocaine. In
I
this
have
country.
never done anything worse than marijuana.
I've done weed for science
I've never
once
done
for
a line.
weekend.
I've never
And,
done a line of anything. I've never.
I was never offered for
You
anything
want help
else,
with that?
but
I got it.
but weed was the only thing I wanted to do. Got to try it. It's like, you know what? This is not so exciting as I thought it was.
Because I'll pour it on
And
clothing.
yep.
It'll end up on fursuit head.
Oh my god, I will strangle you so hard.
I would strangle myself, believe me.
Ah! The hoosk is all sticky. Oh god.
Well, he smells like rum.
For the wrong reasons.
And for the wrong reasons.
Or the right reason.
Oh, speaking of suit,
There's a
I don't think I
secret
told
sauce.
you.
You're almost finished paying off your suit?
I haven't paid it yet, but I've been saving up for the rough estimate from the maker that I was going with.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only got $1,000 left. $1,000 more left before I actually have what's close to the estimate.
And who is the maker you're going with?
Made for you.
Made for you. That's a good fursuit maker.
It is.
I like their previous style and their current style. The style before their previous style kind of
You mean like growly era?
sort of, yeah. And my friend Quiet Wild scared himself in the middle of the night when his wild dog fursuit head was giving him the horny eyes as he woke up one morning.
horny eyes.
The horny eyes, because they all look like horny eyes, but at night it's more like I'm gonna do the thing in your butt. And it's funny because it's so true, because I've had him and his wife room with me at cons in the past. I wake up in the middle of the night, and then there he is. I just see the face and the eyes, and like, dude, he's right. That thing looks like just willing to like sack someone.
Somebody actually said this, unironically. Some people are crazy. I thought it was funny.
Is it someone's political penis?
Sort of.
Oh, God.
This was from Katav retweeting something that he came across. And I was just like, why? It reminds me of the South Park episode. I forget the name, but everybody's like huffing their own farts.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Wait.
I remember that.
Oh.
They actually like the smell of their own farts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
They ended up in San Francisco, I believe, at the end of the episode.
What the fuck?
That you can't get much more, what's the word? Smug than that.
Maybe.
I believe it was.
I only like my own brown.
Some people are just really up their own
Smug-
ass about
I
it.
think it was Smug Alert. Was actually the name of the episode. Because it was the same episode where... Oh. Who's the one actor that gave a speech and it was real smug?
Oh, I don't know. That's a lot of actors.
God, what is his name? George Clooney
Really?
gave a speech, an acceptance speech, and it was the most smug. Like, he was judged so harshly for this speech. And so, the whole premise behind the episode was, number one, people were huffing their own farts. And George Clooney's speech had taken on the physical form of a cloud. Like a smog cloud.
A fart cloud?
No, not a fart cloud. Sadly, not a fart cloud.
Sadly.
I'd be happier if it was a fart cloud.
What's that green and gray and green in the background?
It's just,
Oh, Pigpen. Oh, no, that's not Pigpen.
It's not chlorine
It's
gas.
just Kurdan's fart.
Oh, no.
It's worse. Run.
I forgot what else. So what did I miss? I see that you guys have already gone like an hour and a half into this already.
I can review my notes here. Real
You
quick.
have notes?
I have notes.
We've gotten technical now.
We have
Cat in a box.
cat in a box with a ferret.
There's a ferret in there?
Well, he comes in later.
Oh.
That scares him back in.
I have a new topic.
Wait, before you go into new topic, real
Okay.
quick, just so he knows. Robot Zamboni at my job.
Robin Zamboni. Okay.
Seriously, we have a robot Zamboni.
I
that
believe
cleans
it.
the floors. We talked about daylight savings.
Oh, yeah. That thing that we still do. That.
Which we're the only ones that do it.
Eh.
We talked about what if a husky and kitty were really the POTUS and VP. And my usual buffets that I have during podcast.
We kind of rudimentarily talked about nuclear power and...
Oh, boy.
And nuclear power in France.
Okay,
in
so...
Paris. What's the new subject?
New subject is, now you have been actually voted in as president. You are going to do all the things that you say you do, whatever they may be. However, you have 3 weird things that you do as president that the media's like, huh? Why does he do that? Why? So you are absolutely the best president that has ever presidented. However, there are 3 awkward, funny, weird, or stupid things that you end up doing that's like, oh yeah, that's right. You know, that president was so dank, but he did all this other weird
So
shit.
we have to come up with the things that we did.
Oh, that's easy.
I already have it.
Wear a
Oh,
fursuit.
God.
Well, fursuit, it goes without saying.
Right.
I would be in fursuit, and every live speech that I would give, I would show up with prostitutes on either side of me.
He's a baller.
Baller president.
Just got like a big old cigar in one hand and like a keg in the other.
What's the king in Skyrim? Ballin.
You are y'all ballin' or something. Or
I know nothing about Skyrim.
Balgriff. Oh, Balgriff. Why don't you show us the fine pussy? So that's actually one of them.
Yeah.
So let's actually go with one at a time, because I'm still thinking of a few, but I think what I would probably do... You got one?
No,
okay.
The first part was it.
So, my first one of 3 weird things that I would probably do as president would probably, Damn it.
You had it.
I had it.
And then you lost
And
it.
then I lost it. I don't know. I mean, I would say hoosks everywhere, but that'd almost be kind of like expected from me. I'd probably have like, wow, this actually really became hard all of a sudden now. Shit.
Right?
Fursuit, prostitutes.
Fursuit. Okay, you know what? I guess I'll take that. Because you know what? You kind of have to have with butts.
Yeah.
What about Playboy bunnies?
You know what? You know, he was a good president, but he always wore assless chaps everywhere. And then when he went to see the Japanese prime minister, when he bent down, holy moly.
Who it is?
The Japanese prime minister.
Which
And
president? Oh, is this like playing in your head?
Yes.
Right. So
Oh,
then,
I thought you were referring to an actual president.
No,
I was
no,
like, wait,
God, no.
when did this happen?
it's
Should
like,
happen.
oh, there's our president and his great assless chaps. Looks like he's wearing a different brand this time. Oh, you know it, Phil.
Oh, what if he did like a swimsuit op?
I'm game.
But
What kind of swimsuits?
I anything borderline close to like say Cheetah Paws-esque jock straps.
There we go.
I'm down.
Yep.
I'm
That's-
down for that. He's got all my votes.
He's got the popular vote and the electoral vote.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
They all voted specifically for his package.
He's packing some serious heat. Something we need in
That's
this
actually-
current climate.
That's actually one way to actually solve like military disputes is like you show up and there's nothing but a Speedo and it's like, see, we need to all work together, okay? You know, we all live on this planet. We must at least treat each other like friends, brothers, family.
Like-
and then just have a growing sack.
Meanwhile, it's just a wheelbarrow
It's just a
by
wheelbarrow.
his groin. He's like, why is Comrade President over there?
And his balls are over here.
And he's like, guys. And then it's just a loud thud. He's like, gaze upon it.
Stop teabagging the prime minister, sir.
Get down, Mr. President.
Hello, Queen. Would you like a nice fine tea? Dip. Just a giant manhole cover size
Each
teapot.
ball can dip into a
Each
glass.
ball. Those are some fine eggs.
Bloop, bloop.
Bloop, bloop. Oh, and
So-
one of them got cold.
Got a little
Oddly
red.
enough, there are taste receptors on your balls, but you can't taste anything, which is weird.
I'm gonna try that now.
Like, apparently, like, about maybe earlier last year or this year, there was a TikTok challenge before it was allegedly banned, where people were dipping their nuts in soy sauce for some strange reason. I don't know why they were doing this.
Apparently, you can taste soy sauce with your balls.
I don't know.
I have a bottle of soy sauce upstairs.
This would explain why when I sprayed myself during one of my what do you call it?
But you sprayed yourself in the pee-pee.
Oh,
But you didn't go straight for the balls.
When I was a cam model and I sprayed my pee-pee with 50-50 to wet my underwear.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of a buzz from it, I guess. You could.
Because the urethra is much like your ass. There is no filter.
By the time the alcohol dried, my ball sack was very tight.
It went all snare drum.
It went snare drum. It went from like a plum, like like giant raisins to like a snare drum.
What the? So what would be my second thing that I would do weird as president?
Raisins and snare drums.
Uh-oh. We got the first few electoral votes in.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to know. Let's not say it on the podcast.
I won't. But I just got my first little ping.
Doesn't look good.
Oh, that's a surprise.
You know what? I'm going to go with the
blue.
more...
What?
Texas became a blue state.
Don't say that on the podcast.
Oh, crap. Shit. Booze.
Oh! Okay, so, you know what? I'm probably going to have to do this. I'm going to probably relocate Bad Dragon to the White House.
Oh, yeah. And dip your balls in soy sauce.
What if you made them one of your
No.
secretaries? Secretary of State.
Secretary
Public
of
relations.
Dick. There we go.
They just, like, go to every country. It's like, hey, you know what you need to relieve some stress? Bad Dragon dildo. Here you go.
And then, like...
It's on us.
And then, like, Saudi Arabia's like, oh, yeah, that's right. We sold this stuff to them last week.
Every person that goes to every speech ever gets their own...
You get a dick. You get a dick.
You get a dick. You
Everybody
get a flashlight.
Everybody's getting dicks.
Free dicks for everyone.
And then, like, one's like, oh, well, this is really, really preposterous. You know, this is immoral. And then she gets handed a Bad Dragon extra large flared chance. Oh! And then she runs away. So yeah, so I would say the second thing that I would do weird would be to have Bad Dragon or a furry adult toy company to like, okay, guys, you're moving shop, you're coming with me.
Interestingly enough, there was a furry that was involved in some form of government, and not as a government worker, but as like a politician.
Yep.
In some capacity. I think he was like a mayor.
I think it was
town at one point.
Connecticut, right?
I think so.
Somewhere from the New England area.
Yeah.
And then he was found and outed out as furry or something like that.
Well, there was other reasons why he got outed too, but
he was an older gentleman, right?
I think so.
Yeah. That's actually what I remember, which you know what? Furries are everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least been one furry to space. There had to been. There had to been. Oh, where did my dildo? Oh, it's floating in space. Oh, well, hopefully they won't find it.
Just a flailing, like, chance.
I can just imagine... Wiggly. I can just imagine this movie coming out like, will he survive his ordeal stranded in Earth's outer orbit? Dun, 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 and he's just flying through... he's, like, getting jettisoned from, like, one space capsule to gain safety to another. And he's just floating by. There's, like, a Bad Dragon toy. It's like, fucking furries. And just floats on.
What is this?
It's homemade jam.
Oh,
Jelly.
I thought it was, like, some kind of cinnamon thing.
No, it's jelly.
Interesting.
What would I do for a third weirdness of my presidency?
Oh, you could do what, what's his face did. Only instead of a Tesla car, you just send a bunch of, like, sex toys in space.
No, you know what? I just thought of something that's uniquely me. And holy cow, it's like, he's a great president, but holy shit, did he get weird. Have a World War II reenactment on the White House lawn.
Oh, no. Your tax-paying dollars at work.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a battlefield, like, oh, Mr. President, oh, don't worry, man, it's just blanks. Oh.
I'm sure money's been spent much worse than that, though.
I mean, true.
That'd be funny. It's like selling my, like, portraits like a confused shot of me. It's like, oh, who is that? Well, that's our 51st president. Really, really great guy. You know, he, fixed the global health crisis and, sustained renewable resource energy. But he was a nut. He was a total nut, and we couldn't understand him, but good guy.
Kind of reminds me of that character from Gravity Falls. The crazy president that was so clinically insane that they tried to lock it away. And then Mabel and Dipper discovered him, like, cryogenically frozen or something.
And his nipples were 2 feet extended from his chests. His tits were very calm. Actually, they weren't calm at all. They were just extending out.
Ooh.
They say it was longer than his penis.
Remember the meme? It was the whole calm your tits thing.
Oh, calm your tits.
And then the reaction meme to that was no, and it was just tits like just waving like
Or
angrily.
like
I've never
like
seen that.
shark teeth
Really?
on. It's like,
I've never seen that response.
It's the best.
I've only heard the phrase "calm your tits"
It was such a great
because sometimes I'll say, "Oh,
calm your tits."
that kind of reminds me of my early morning story today." You kind of already saw it on Twitter.
I mean, I have.
So where I was working, where I'm probably going to be working until the end of January because of the holidays. We have this section of the building called Big Box, and that's essentially any boxes that are too big to go up on the conveyor belt that goes to the corresponding auto sort areas, and has to all be done by hand. Like, it has to be put on a pallet, then the pallet jack comes, takes that pallet away, and rolls it off to its corresponding location in pallet land, which is where most of the stuff being shipped out goes. Well, we were getting swamped, as we always do, on a Tuesday. And a Tuesday. Gotta say it like a Swede. And we didn't have enough people. Oh. Okay. So we didn't have enough people over by our station. We didn't even have our supervisor. So this would be a guy that has computer access to scan the stuff that needs to be sent to other places like Arizona, Orlando, etc. So this guy, so it's just me taking stuff off these pallets that came in from the trucks that now needs to be unloaded and dispersed throughout the building. And this other dude is kind of trying to... I'm assuming he did it because he didn't want to stack packages at all. But he would just put everything on the pallet, not even realizing that some of the stuff that he was grabbing weren't supposed to go on those pallets. So then I had to go painstakingly remove all those packages and tell him, you see this label right here on the package?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like,
tweet.
That label means it goes to that pallet over there. You don't just stack it on here because it's got a letter.
Stack them all.
Yeah. So on top of that, because he was doing all this and basically screwing everything up, we were getting sent more stuff. So, and then whenever he would take whatever pallets that he had, every 2 of the pallets that he grabbed, 5 more would replace it.
Oh, no.
Now, typically, when there's only 2 people like that, you usually set 4 of them aside. That's the minimum we do. And then, once you had 4 set off to the side, then you could pull them. But he was pulling them every time he had like 2 pallets together. So then I told him, he's like, listen, I don't mind you pulling pallets, but you need to kind of wait until we clear most of this stuff out first, because the next sort that comes in this morning does not want to be buried in boxes. I don't want to be buried in boxes, and they most definitely don't want to be buried in boxes either. And he said something along the lines, it's like, don't even with me. I was like, and I got so mad with him, I just left. I said, all right, you can do this for the next 15 minutes by yourself, see how long you last. I needed to get COVID testing anyways, which roughly takes about 15 minutes. By the time I got it done, end of shift. So, to my knowledge, he was there for the duration of those 15 minutes, doing everything by himself. Like, I had a very short fuse this morning. Especially because of this guy.
See? Every job, there's always one asshole.
I
He
mean,
has his
normally at
asshole.
work, everyone's got an asshole,
My
but
asshole happens to be female, so I don't limit the asshole status to a gender, because anyone has the ability to be an asshole, regardless of what you're packing. I'm drunk.
I mean, this morning I was kind of ranting and raving about. So, work is. I already did that.
Did what?
Oh,
Move the
to
mouse.
waggle the mouse.
To make sure that the monitor doesn't fall asleep.
So this morning.
He won't let me fix it.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about.
So this morning I had one of my coworkers, Charles, likes to totally bitch about.
Charles in charge.
Likes to bitch about. Oh, looks like I got to finish someone else's work.
Oh god,
Which,
hate that guy.
you know what? Most industries is typically you're always doing someone else's. Like what they did, you're going to finish up what they started, and you're going to pass it to the next person, right?
Yep.
And you know what?
Literally us.
I literally do everything in my department that involves some sort of process, which then gets shoved to the next person, right?
Yep.
I literally do everything in some order at some point during a day. So you either ID stuff coming in, you stock it. So when you stock it, you're actually touching the stuff that was left over by the IDing process by whoever did it. Then picking the parts, you're actually picking what they stocked. So it's technically unfinished because in that case, you're really touching the same thing that someone put there. Then the stuff that gets picked, that gets put on a belt, goes to the boxers, which technically touch the stuff you picked. So you're giving your work to them, which once the boxers pack all the stuff into boxes and send it down the rollers to get shipped, now you're sending the shipper the stuff that you just did, and now they're going to finish your job. It's literally an unending cycle of, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do and hand it to the next person. This coworker is complaining about doing just that. Where that's literally all of our jobs is, we are literally doing the job of the next person, or the previous person, and giving our job to the next person. It's so stupid. It's like, oh my god, it's just so frustrating that people are this stupid to not realize this is part of your job. And they bitch and complain about it anyway.
The same goes with my job. We have 3 shifts every day. First shift, my shift, starts it off with the freight that comes in. Each department gets anywhere from 6 to 15 pallets. And then third shift in the evening, actually, it really starts with third shift. The people that come in at 11 o'clock and work till 7. And they don't get everything done, so then it lands on us. We have to finish it. And then halfway through the day, we get a second freight. It usually gets there right as I'm walking out the door. So I have nothing to do with it. But before I leave, they clear up half the back room. And we're talking like a good, I'll say 90 feet. 90 feet of backroom space for a line of pallets that comes in, gets unloaded off the truck, and that doesn't get touched during second shift. So that falls on third shift. So there's a constant rotation of work being passed off from one to the other to the other.
And this is pretty normal with most jobs, because technically not everyone does everything unless you're in a unique industry that allows that, because most companies would rather have you do 1 or 2 roles instead of doing them all, because that means they'd have to pay you more.
Yeah.
So ideally, a company would rather section off the type of work you do and then hand it to the next person to get it finished or passed on.
Yep.
That's only normal. when you bitch and complain about, oh, it looks like I gotta finish what you started, isn't that what you do every day?
Yep.
What's new today that you are suddenly at odds with it? I don't know. It's impressive that people are dumb enough to consider that, oh, I have to do your work. Oh.
At that point, they're just trying to.
Oh, they just love to bitch.
They're just bitching.
Oh boy.
My titties are not calm.
Definitely not.
So, is anybody looking forward to any upcoming games this year or next year?
Games. What kind of games?
I don't know. Just any upcoming video games coming out.
Oh, video games. I don't know enough about games to be like a good enough critiquer.
The only game that I'm waiting for is Elder Scrolls.
I'm looking forward to the new Black Ops game. Whoever they got to voice act and portray Ronald Reagan is a spot on
You
comparison.
showed that to me.
Yeah, I know. It was so creepy.
It's eerily creepy.
Because it's like, oh my god, the voice is like down to a peak. He even has like that grandpa-esque like tone in his voice. He's like, is the threat real?
Yeah, that was good. It does look good.
Also, they just released additional information on the whole zombies aspect. First map's taking place in Poland. It's not technically the first map to take place in Poland, but this is the first one where it's officially under Polish, like, hands.
What's this game about?
The Cold War.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From what I've been able to gather, it is a direct sequel to the very first Black Ops game, which took place between 61 to 68.
Okay.
And now this one's going to be like 68 to 81.
Okay. So pretty much a good hot period of the Cold War.
Mm-hmm. When the Cold War almost turned hot several times.
Why do they
Started
call
to
it the
turn-
Cold War again?
Because it was mainly just massive buildup of each other's weapons stockpile, but then just in case one side might try something, and it never happened. So
Mutual mass destruction.
Mutually-
Mutually assisted destruction.
no, it's
man.
mutually assured,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
but close. Same.
The rum is actually starting to work on me. This is actually kind of fun.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good rum.
It's very
Yeah.
good rum, actually.
It is.
This is the rum that I got drunk on my birthday party at. You were there.
I remember.
I was really messed up, but this is good rum.
Pretty much each side had enough weapons to not only destroy each other, but to pretty much destroy the planet, which meant even countries they had no intentions of any ill aggression towards would also get hit in as well. So pretty much it became a war of ideology where if they couldn't win on a military aspect, they would win on an economic and ideological
And
one.
psychological.
And psychological too. And pretty much proxy wars. There were more proxy wars between the opposing powers than there were direct wars.
Korea, Vietnam,
Afghanistan.
the Soviet-Afghan War.
Yep.
Oh my
The
God, you
Lebanon
can
War.
PlayStation shirt.
Yeah?
It's,
You got a problem with that?
Product
No.
placement of PlayStation.
What can I say?
love it.
We
I-
want your sponsorship.
I see that. and
Hey,
I
if they give me a free PS5, I don't mind that at
I
all.
immediately hear the boot up screen. in my head.
I honestly have not played the PS1 yet.
What?
I've got a
You don't even
PS2.
deserve to have that shirt.
Hey, I
Give
got
me that shirt.
I got-
Give it to me.
no,
Give it
no,
to me.
no.
Oh,
that
Jesus
shirt.
Christ,
It-
he's naked now.
in
Give
my
that shirt to me.
in my defense-
you don't deserve
In
it.
my defense, PS2 also had the same logo with the same colors. I
No.
have one.
It was different.
Not really.
Yes, it was,
No.
only 2 to 3 colors.
I'm gonna look this up.
Hoosk is a Windows 98 PC gamer.
Windows 98.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember having
I
that.
had Windows 3.0.
Windows 3.0.
Don't at me.
Pixelate your mind.
Don't even at me. I hated it so much that I uninstalled Windows off my computer and just ran DOS. I did.
No, see? They were both the same. Both same color.
This is PS1.
No, that says PS2 on there, right there.
This says PS2. This is PS1.
It's from a YouTube clip.
I don't care.
And you see how...
Look at the in parentheses with PlayStation 1 logo.
Penis.
Try again.
Penis.
Damn it.
No,
Penis.
don't.
Oh, they're right there.
No,
What about that?
That's not legit.
Yeah, it is.
Penis.
No.
Penis.
Hold on.
Penis.
No, hold on,
I'll
hold
figure
on,
it out.
hold on,
Just
hold
look
on.
up the PS2 console.
Penis.
It'll have the
Here.
logo there.
Penis.
Remove logo.
Penis.
Okay.
Penis.
Just look up PS2 console.
Penis.
Yeah.
Penis.
Because the button...
Penis.
Are you playing the penis game while we're arguing about PlayStation?
Yes!
It also depends on the version you have.
I don't
What did you
care.
do?
It's loading.
Oh, you sent me to
He
a
is
place
loading
that
up
was...
the penis.
I don't want to look at that. I can... You know,
Yes, you do.
you could do that on images.
Fine. Then go to images. Okay.
Buttocks.
Look on the system.
It doesn't have the same ring as penis.
Look at all
penis.
those colors.
Penis. Penis.
No. That's no.
Look at that. It's the same.
Look at that. It's not the
Well,
same.
that doesn't
That's
count.
that's the face of the system.
That doesn't count. That's the aesthetic.
That's the face of the system.
No.
Yes.
No.
Are you guys telling me
Look
that
at
you're
what?
nerds?
Look at
You both are nerds.
PlayStation.
Okay, but that applies to all PlayStations.
No.
Yes.
This is PSX gen right here.
No, it doesn't.
That is original PlayStation.
Help. Dustin, help me.
You no
Penis.
You don't
Penis.
get help from him.
Penis. Penis.
We're console right here.
Penis.
This.
Well,
Penis.
eventually I do want to stray away from console and go PC. but-
Assless
Give
chaps.
me this shirt.
No.
Give it to me.
No.
Children, children, what are you doing?
Give me
Mom.
that shirt.
I'm gonna get the belt if you don't
The
behave.
belt.
I'm
Hey,
gonna turn this car around
It-
and
Give
we're
me
not
the
gonna
shirt.
see the Grand Canyon.
I want to see who wore it best.
We're gonna see Aunt Gerda soon, so you
Wait.
best behave.
You know what? You want this thing fixed? Here, I'll fix it for you. There. See? Now no PlayStation logo.
He made a shirt penis.
He made it into a sports bra.
Yep. This is something we used to do in grade school, and we got in serious trouble for this.
Scary movie.
I never
remember
thought to do that.
he did that. One of the Wayans brothers does that in Scary Movie. He's like, first he's like, does this make me look gay? And then he like, takes his shirt aside. How about this? Does this make me look gay? Marlon Wayans or Damon Wayans.
Oh, since we're on the topic of somewhat of the topic of scary movie, you guys see any Halloween movies as of late, or watch any
No.
Halloween movies?
No.
No.
He doesn't watch them. And
What?
What's
What's wrong with you? It's Halloween.
I fix this shirt.
Oh, PlayStation.
Deal anymore. And give me that shirt.
No, it's my shirt.
Cat.
What movie?
Cat.
What movie?
What
Cat.
movie did I see?
What are you talking about?
I'm just talking about like Halloween themed movies
What?
in general.
Particular movie are you getting
Well,
at?
I was watching all the Saw movies.
Oh God, I was just thinking about those.
I regretfully
Irritating as fuck, because every time they added something new
got worse.
that would somehow bring you back
Oh yeah, to the very first
to the
film.
very
It's like,
first
holy
film
shit.
again, and they got more and more far fetched
Oh yeah.
to the point where you would never be able to see it because nobody saw it.
To be honest, I was willing to overlook that part. The aspect I didn't like about any of the upcoming movies that I would watch was how gradually worse it got gore-wise.
Yeah,
I was like, like the second movie, spoilers by the way, needles.
needles.
Oh, I was like, oh god, no, not the needles. Not the needles. Anything but the
I
needles.
saw how they did that too.
nibbles.
And then it got worse and worse and worse. Like, then there was the, Saw 3, I think. When, oh god, it's been a while. It really hasn't been that long. But every trap, or every unique design got worse and worse. It was like, I can understand the simplicity and yet admire the first Saw movie, despite also cringing at, some of the gory aspects of it. But that I could handle.
Right.
Because it was kind of set in reality, for the most part. Then when you got to the most obscure and most bizarre traps, then it was like, okay, what the hell is this? And then when you saw it actually being enabled, you're like, oh, geez, no, I can't do it. No. I closed my eyes for, like, most of the movies.
Wasn't it the first movie where he had to, like, get a key out of his own head or something?
No, that was Saw 2.
I think it was the girl, too. It was a girl that had to get a key from behind her eye.
No, you're thinking of Amanda, and she actually had to get it from somebody's stomach. That was the first movie.
That was the first movie, yes.
But Saw 2 is the one where the guy had the key in his eye. And he ended up not doing it.
I'm sorry, that's impossible.
Well, yeah. A lot of these movies were impossible. You don't even know exactly where these movies take place, except for one tiny license plate from one of the police cruisers that kind of slipped up by stating that it was in New Jersey somewhere, despite the name of the police department in the movie not actually existing. Right. It's just your generic metropolitan police department.
Right. Because no police...
Last name, first name. College University.
College University.
There we go. That's pretty generic.
Null and void.
Null and void.
And then some of the things that I was watching... So when I was watching some of the EU stuff, I was just like thinking not only how dated the movies were, but just all the things that you would see people like... what's the dude's name? Have you guys ever seen Blue Bloods? Tom Selleck being like the main actor. So there's a character who is like a family relative of Tom Selleck's character, who's also in this movie playing a crooked cop. And they're doing like a documentary series on the Jigsaw, like a mockumentary. It's set, it's set in the movie universe, but it isn't a part. And then they go and interview him, and he just snaps on the press people and starts pointing a gun at them. He's like, "Whoa, you would never do that, especially on live television, because you'd get fired. Even back then, you wouldn't do that."
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, these guys watched way too many of like those Dirty Harry-esque cop movies.
Yeah.
Because you could not do that like in a profession like that and not suffer any consequences.
The thing that pissed me off about those movies the most was every time they would finally do the full circle.
Oh, you mean like they'd wrap it up and you'd be like, holy shit, everything makes sense.
Same music every time.
Oh yeah, the Zepp theme.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, it was so awful. It was so...
See, though, it really made you think about some of the things he said. Like, in Saw 5, when you had all those people together, he's like, your common instincts will drive you to do this. I urge that you do the exact opposite.
Right.
And it wasn't until they found out later, it's like, holy shit, all of us could have survived this if we had just been smarter. Instead of, just being selfish, it's like, give me the key.
Yeah.
That
movie was aggravating, to say the least, to watch.
I haven't seen the others yet.
Saw 3D?
Saw 3D and
Saw
Jigsaw.
3D is actually really good.
That's the one that has Lawrence in it, right?
I think so.
The doctor from the first movie?
Yeah. That one really does connect to the first movie really well. Like, it was written well.
I know.
The whole time I was like, how the fuck are they going to connect this?
Oh, did you hear that they're coming up with another one? It's called Spiral.
Oh my god.
They released the trailer not too long ago, actually.
We'll have to look at it after the podcast.
I think it's coming out in 2021.
What big movie came out this year then?
I
There's always like at
honestly
least
don't
one or
know.
two big like horror films.
The
What's the other one? The other series they kept making movies of.
Halloween,
Well, Halloween, yeah, but there's another one.
Leatherface.
Nope.
Not Friday the 13th.
No. It's lesser. It's only been like 3 or 4 years now.
The Grudge?
No. Where they keep going to the dark side to like find this guy's son, and this nun came back with him or something.
Oh, the Covenant series, I think?
No, not
Damn
Covenant,
it.
not
I'm
Covenant.
running out of, like, horror genres.
No, it would like he would leave his body. He would go outside into the darkness, and there'd be like this ugly demon guy. It was like, but the one that kept like, eventually what happened, she inhabited him.
I'm not sure I know
And every
name.
time they would, Insidious.
Oh, I haven't really watched
Those are
movies.
good. I actually like them, but they I don't know if they kept making movies or not.
See, I'm more of, like, out of the Halloween genre, my favorite movies were the Halloween movies, with the exception of Halloween 3.
Halloween movies.
So, interestingly, there was supposed to be a follow-up to the Halloween 2018 film that came out,
Yeah.
but because of Corona, they had to delay it to 2021. But they did release a teaser, and I'm really looking forward to this upcoming one. I hope it does well, like the last film did, because I actually liked that movie.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis, despite her age, is still kind of smoking.
She's amazing. Honestly, I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
You know when she started acting, she was like 19 years old.
Yeah, she was pretty young.
I always thought she was like in her 20s
Yeah.
in Halloween.
Yeah, no, she was 19.
That always threw me for a loop, because, you know, there'd be that character trope, especially in like 80s horror.
I have a video for you that we have to watch together.
Oh no.
It's so interesting. It is the most disturbing movies ever made that cannot be shown or either got edited down or just don't even exist anymore. One of these films was the inspiration behind the creation of the mask for Halloween. You have to see this video.
Like Michael Myers mask?
Yeah, the Michael Myers mask.
Oh, you mean the dyed Captain Kirk mask?
Yes. There's actually a movie that inspired the creation of that mask. You have to see it. It's so interesting.
Neat.
Yeah.
Oh, Dustin.
What's up?
I don't know if Briggs told you, but tomorrow, ULA is going to be launching a Atlas V rocket for a mission.
Which, this is actually what Briggs had told me today. Better hunkle in your bunkle if the Trumby don't get elected president again.
Was he
So-
drunk?
No, that's just speaking in the Lyle McDouchebag language.
Wild McDo... I've never heard that language
The
before.
Trumby always speaks his mind.
Ooh.
I don't even know what for you just mouth speak. Well, I don't even know what you just mouth speak. What?
You know-
Exactals.
You know what else is coming out this month?
What?
The revival of the Animaniacs show. on
Mm-hmm.
Hulu.
I saw that.
Just in time, too, because I actually bought the complete series from, like, the original show. So I've still got to catch up on all those. I just finished the first season, actually.
That show was awesome. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
that show.
So many quotable references, like, it's time for... Or it's that time again to make the fox censors cry.
Oh my god.
No.
I love how self-aware they have always been.
I am Ludwig von Beethoven, world famous composer and pianist. Say what? Pianist. Mwah. Good night, everybody. Oh wow.
Oh my god, furry dirty mind on the mind. So, pianist. Imagine if it's like they just meant to say penis, but they say pianist. And like, what do you mean? Oh, I played the piano with my dick. With the pee-pee. And then the balls do their own thing. Blah, blah, blah.
No, it's just like...
You have some strong balls.
What do you think? Should we wrap this up?
Do we want to?
I mean...
Yeah, we're going close to 2 hours.
We already have gone
We're
2
past
hours.
2 hours.
Why don't we end it?
You want to end it?
Yeah, because we got stuff to do.
Cool.
All right.
You
Well,
guys eat yet?
No.
I haven't eaten
Okay,
yet.
because I haven't eaten yet either.
So, this is another episode of the Zooming Hoosk Podcast Election Edition. A little longer than typical, but...
I hope you guys all voted.
Oh, yes, you better vote.
Voted.
This is your host, Dustin DaHusky.
I'm Kurdan Sourpuss.
And last minute guest, Wolfe.
Thanks for tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoy the craziness and the weirdness and the realism of this episode.
So real.
But probably maybe the more weirdness.
Yeah.
So, hopefully you enjoyed the humor despite what's going on. So, we catch you guys next time.